Hi friends, this is Caitlin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are celebrating a Sweet November Stamps spring release with the Good Egg stamp set. This is my absolute favorite. We're going to make a really sweet card, and this was part of my sneak peek. So I colored up the beginning part of this scene for sneak peeks last week, and then I had to finish the card, so I thought I would share it all with you as part of today's hop. So this is a hop, and if you enter to win, you follow all the steps. Everything will be listed down below in the description for you, but if you enter to win, if you do all the things, you have a chance at winning the entire collection from the release. How crazy is that? I just love this whole release. It's so cute. But like I said, we're using the Good Egg Bountiful Blessings. Bountiful Blessings is like the overall collection. There's multiple stamps in this style that all work together. If you saw my last video, I was using multiple Bountiful Blessings sets as well. And I just love how you can mix and match them so easily. But today we're just focusing on this one stamp set. And I stamped out my little farmer. I did a little bit of masking so that only half of the chicken feed is kind of like falling out of her hand. But otherwise, there wasn't any masking, anything special for this card in general. I did have to stamp the chicken with his booty in the air because he is the cutest, or she is the cutest, obviously. And yeah, we're just going to build up a very simple scene around our little farm girl. I am hopefully getting chickens in the next couple days, little baby chicks. And so this stamp set really felt like it was made for me. When I saw the preview pics of this, I was so excited. So I'm starting out with coloring the skin tone. I had laid down a little bit of a base color just to start mapping everything out. Then I went in with my EO4 to lay in all of my shadows, keeping everything kind of on the outside of the face. I did emphasize the bridge of the nose a little bit, and then on the under parts of her arms and the insides of her ankles. There's not a lot of room there. And then just blending that out, keeping it still pretty light. I did intentionally color her to look kind of like me. She doesn't generally look like me, but coloring wise, she looks kind of like me. And I knew I wanted to use the light blue paper up in the left-hand corner that you see. It has tiny little white and yellow daisies. It's from Fawn. It's really cute. So I picked all of my other colors to kind of work with that color scheme. So her tank top, the bowl, and her boots are all going to have yellow to kind of pick up on the little yellow hints in the daisies. And then I always use B90s for denim. I think they're the perfect denim color. I absolutely love them for jeans, and they were perfect to give her some denim overalls. So going in with B97, I'm adding in all of my shadows kind of on the inside of her legs, the bottom of the pocket, under the bowl, and using those deeper markers to emphasize the folds and kind of wrinkles in the fabric around her ankles and her cuffs. And then blending that out with B95. Sorry, and we'll just move through the rest of the B90s, kind of filling in the rest of that space, but still leaving a little highlight here so that we have a place for our B91 to go. I really wanted these to look like a faded kind of light wash jean. If you wanted it to be darker, you could start with B99 and then end at 93. And you probably don't have to have that many colors. I just felt like there was enough room here to really get a really nice variation and blend. For the rest of her boots, the underside and kind of the elastic in between, I went in with some darker E markers. But I love the idea that she just has these like yellow rubber farm boots. They're very cute. And for the birdseed, the chicken scratch, I went in and started out with some of those same E markers as her boots and just kind of stippled in the color here and there. It seemed a little light, so I also brought in some E59 for some darker spots And when we get to the end, we'll add some white spots with a gel pen as well. I added a little bit of color to the seeds on the ground, and then like I said, tried to make her look a little like me. So she is a brunette, and there's a lot of really lovely artist drawn lines here that kind of tell us exactly what this hair texture is like, and it gives you a lot of guidance. So this one was really easy, in my opinion, to color the hair. There's not a lot of guesswork. You don't have to add a lot of your own lines. I'm just emphasizing the lines that are already there and using them to create my shading. So I started with E49, and then I'm moving through to E59, thickening up everything, but still you can see leaving a good bit of white space so that we have room for our lightest shade. Just kind of taking my time and, like I said, being mindful to not fill in everything yet. Then I'll come in with my E57. That's going to be my highlight, and just kind of coat through everything that's left. And I do like to overlap that onto what's already there as well. It'll help kind of blend our different tones together. For my chicken, I started out trying to make it look like the chickens we're going to get, which are like a very light tan. But I decided it was a little too muted. And so we're going to end up bringing in some kind of red-brown markers to give them more of a like Rhode Island red, kind of rusty red look that I think just suits the card a little better. I didn't want her getting lost. Well, maybe I leave her tan for now. At some point, I'm pretty sure I color her more red. We'll see. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. This was a while ago, to be fair. I'm voicing this over the day before the hop goes live, but I colored this like 2 weeks ago because I was so excited. The day that it came in the mail, I immediately had to color it up. I went in with some E57 to start creating ground for our little scene to take place on. And you can see I'm really roughly sketching this in, just kind of making just horizontal stripes, and a lot of them don't connect. There's a lot of like broken space here, but I think that looks so good for this kind of dirt effect I'm going for. And we're going to add grass, but we're going to add it across the back once the rest of our ground is done. So I think the most important dirt areas to make sure that you hit up are the areas under the feet for the chicken and the girl. As long as those have a good bit of shadow, then everything else is just kind of for fun placement wise. I wanted to keep it lighter where the chicken stamp or the chicken food was stamped, so it would really show up. See, there you go. Here we're giving a little extra red hue to our chicken. A little E09, E07 markers that I generally don't reach for, but I think it helps her stand out from the dirt a little more. That was the goal. So to finish off the ground part, like I said, I wanted to add grass, but I was really trying to make this a simple and kind of clean scene for myself that felt very light and fresh. Also similar to the last card that I shared, the last video I shared. Just really light and bright and simple as far as creating the background. So I'm going in with YG23, super fun, springy green. And I'm just flicking color up from that horizon line, making some of the grass really tall, some of it a little bit shorter, letting it taper at the top. And then I'm going to go in with YG17, which is just a little bit darker, to help break up that grass as well. And then we're going to come in with some light blue for the sky. But I just love this like really fresh and bright look of having, you know, the attention kind of down there at the bottom, balancing out the just chicken in, which I stamped with light blue ink. And then for the sky, I'm keeping it so simple and easy and just bringing in some B00 and B, I think it's triple. What are you? Yeah, 000. Just horizontal across the space, kind of leaving it a little lighter towards the middle, making kind of a little vignette or ombre. And then I'm blending that out with an Olo Zero because my colorless blender is basically empty and I need a refill. But like I said, I'm just keeping it really light. And it's enough that it pulls in the blues from our pattern paper we're going to use. But it's just so light and fresh. I keep saying those words, but that's when I look at this card, that's how I feel about it. So I used an oblong octagon stitch die from Pink and Main to cut out my scene. And I trimmed my flower panel down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I would have a nice little white mat. Then I added my little scene right to my card front. And I decided to go in with my white gel pen to kind of emphasize how the knees of her overalls are a little tattered. And you get those little like white strings across. So I added them there. I added a little white to her eyes, some white to the bowl and her birdseed. And that brings this little scene together. So much fun, so sweet. I hope that you go check out the new Sweet November Stamps collection. Please check out all the details for the hop down below for your chance to win the full collection. There we go. And thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I hope that you have an amazing day. And until next time, happy crafting.